Hello, welcome back and thank you for watching Betrayed Husbands Club. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'd like to know, what part of the world are you watching us from right now? Let us know in the comments. Now let's dive into today's story. The darkness outside Luna Johnson's window pressed against the glass like a living thing, Montana's winter midnight as impenetrable as a sealed crypt. He lay motionless in bed, eyes locked on the ceiling, his body refusing the comfort of sleep. A soldier's instincts never truly faded. Years had passed since he'd left the battlefield, yet his body remained on high alert. Every groan of the house settling, every gust of wind scraping against the siding registered with precise calculation in his mind. A red glow from the digital clock sliced through the blackness. 2:17 a.m. outside, the temperature had plunged to 12 degrees, the heating system fighting a losing battle against the cold. Luna shifted his 6'4" frame, the mattress protesting under his weight. Sleep wouldn't come. It never did when Rylan was away. His son was spending the weekend at Luna's, another court-ordered visit he despised. Luna loathed those weekends, hated sending his boy into that woman's grasp. But the law was the law, and for now, he played by its rules. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, the glow of the screen cutting through the dark. An unknown number. A knot tightened in his stomach. Calls at this hour never brought good news. Mr. Johnson. A woman's voice, cool and professional. This is Isabella Taylor from Kalispell Regional Hospital. The words struck like a mortar blast. What happened? It's your son, Rylan. You need to come right away. He was moving before she even finished, muscle memory snapping into place as he grabbed clothes and keys. How bad? A pause. Sir, it's best if we discuss this in person. Something in her tone made his blood run cold. Please hurry. The line went dead. Luna dressed in seconds, jeans, thermal shirt, boots. His hands remained steady, but his mind raced through worst-case scenarios, each more unbearable than the last. His eyes flicked toward the bedside drawer where his Glock rested. For a brief moment, he considered it. Then, with a quiet exhale, he left it behind. Not yet. Outside, the freezing air clawed at his lungs as he climbed into his truck. The engine growled to life, tires crunching over ice as he pulled onto empty streets. Kalispell lay silent, unaware that someone's world was breaking apart. The drive burned itself into his memory. Deserted intersections. Yellow traffic lights glinting off frozen pavement. A country song murmuring from the radio, unheard. His hands tightened on the steering wheel, knuckles pale as he forced himself to focus. The hospital emerged from the darkness, its windows glowing like weary, sleepless eyes. The emergency entrance stood ablaze with fluorescent light, the automatic doors parting as he approached. A nurse glanced up from the front desk, recognition flickering in her gaze. Mr. Johnson, come with me. She led him through stark white corridors that stretched endlessly, his footsteps echoing against sterile tile. The antiseptic sting in the air pulled him back to field hospitals in Afghanistan, to the metallic scent that always signaled blood. Then he saw them. 2 police officers standing outside a hospital room. His pulse spiked, combat instincts kicking in. One officer's fingers drifted toward his holster, sensing the tension in Luna's stance. The nurse touched his arm gently. Your son is stable, she murmured. But you should prepare yourself. Nothing could have braced him for what he saw. Rylan lay small and fragile in the hospital bed, his face a landscape of bruises and sickening shades of purple and blue. 4 lines snaked from his arms, monitors blinking in rhythmic pulses. His right arm sat immobilized in a white cast, thick bandages wrapped around his torso. Every shallow breath he took seemed to bring fresh pain. Dad? Rylan's voice was barely more than a whisper. Luna moved toward him, careful not to disturb the medical equipment. His steps felt heavy, like wading through deep water. I'm here, buddy. I'm right here. Tears welled in Rylan's eyes, slipping through the bruises like rain carving paths through dry earth. I'm sorry, he murmured. I tried to be brave, like you taught me. Luna swallowed hard, his throat tight with something raw and violent. You don't have anything to be sorry for. His fingers brushed against Ryland's uninjured hand, noting the scrapes across his knuckles. His boy had fought back. A surge of pride tangled with simmering rage in Luna's chest. Can you tell me what happened? Ryland's lip trembled. Fear darkened his gaze, not from the pain, but from speaking the truth. Mom and her boyfriend, he said haltingly, each word like broken glass in his mouth. They said, if you don't give her the house, they'll keep hurting me. The words lingered in the air like poison. Something inside Luna shifted, an old door creaking open to a place he had kept locked since his days as a ranger. A place where violence lived and mercy did not. But he kept his voice calm, steady. His son didn't need his rage. He needed his father. You're safe now, he promised, every syllable an unbreakable vow. No one will ever hurt you again. The weight of those words settled in the room just as a doctor entered, clipboard in hand. Middle-aged, with kind but weary eyes. Mr. Johnson, I'm Dr. Reeves. We need to discuss your son's injuries. His tone was clinical, measured. 3 broken ribs on the left side. A fractured right arm. Defensive wounds. Extensive bruising covering his torso and face. Possible internal bleeding, under careful observation. Each injury told its own story, a deliberate, methodical cruelty. The pattern suggests multiple impacts, Dr. Reeves continued. Likely fists and a belt or similar object. This wasn't a single outburst. This was systematic. Calculated. Luna absorbed every detail, committing each one to memory. Evidence. Ammunition. How long? His voice was quiet. The doctor hesitated. Judging by the stages of bruising, I'd estimate the abuse has been ongoing for several weeks, escalating. Several weeks. The realization struck him like a sledgehammer to the chest. His son had been suffering, and he hadn't known. He hadn't been there to protect him. Dr. Reeves exhaled. The police will need to take a statement, he said, nodding toward the officers outside. But for now, your son needs rest. We've given him pain medication. He should sleep soon. Luna nodded, his mind already working ahead. He stayed by Ryland's side until his son's eyes fluttered shut, watching his breathing steady. Only then did he step into the hallway. The lead detective introduced himself as Moore, his handshake too firm, his expression too carefully constructed. His partner stood back, silent, scribbling notes. Something about Moore put Luna on edge. The false concern. The smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. And just like that, Luna knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Detective Moore flipped open a small notebook, his expression unreadable. We'll need a formal statement, he said, pen poised over the page. But off the record, what's your relationship with Luna Johnson Holloway, your ex-wife? Luna kept his tone level. Divorced for 2 years. She remarried 6 months ago. Moore glanced up. To Troy Jackson. Ex-con. 3 assault and battery convictions in the last 10 years. Luna gave a slow nod. You've done your research. The detective's eyebrows lifted slightly. So have you. I protect what's mine, Luna said, each word deliberate, weighted. Moore held his gaze for a moment before offering a thin, practiced smile. We'll handle this by the book. No vigilante justice, understand? We wouldn't want to jeopardize the investigation. Luna didn't blink. Of course not. He waited until the officers left before reaching for his phone. The number he dialed had remained the same for 15 years, since their last deployment together. Luna, he said, his voice cold and steady. It's Luna. A deep breath, steel hardening in his chest. They hurt my boy, Luna. Silence stretched across the line. When Luna Vance finally spoke, his voice was devoid of warmth. When do we start? Now. Meet me at Luna's house in 30 minutes. Luna ended the call and turned back toward the hospital room window. Ryland lay motionless, his face twisted in pain even through the medication. The sight burned itself into Luna memory, feeding the fire inside him. His phone vibrated with an incoming text from Luna. Like Damascus? Luna stared at the message for a beat before replying with a single word. Worse. He pressed his palm against the glass, a silent vow forming in his mind. Luna thought she knew him. Thought she could control him through Rylan. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The man she'd manipulated, the one who had once followed the rules, was gone. In his place stood someone else. Someone she had forged with her own cruelty. As Luna walked out of the hospital, the shift settled over him like armor. The careful, law-abiding civilian faded away, revealing the warrior beneath. Luna wanted to play games with fear and pain? Fine. He'd show her what real monsters looked like. The drive to Luna's house gave him time to plan. Streetlights cast pools of yellow on empty sidewalks as he navigated the quiet, affluent neighborhood. Here, money bought the illusion of safety, pristine lawns and white picket fences masking the rot beneath. Luna's house stood out, bigger and newer than the rest. A monument to what she'd taken from him. Luna's black pickup was already parked a block away, blending into the shadows. As Luna approached, Luna stepped out, moving with the same quiet, lethal grace he'd carried in the Rangers. Even in civilian clothes, he radiated danger, calm, controlled, but ready. They clasped hands briefly, no words needed. 15 years of combat had forged a bond deeper than blood. You sure about this? Luna finally asked, his breath fogging in the cold air. Luna didn't hesitate. She crossed the line. She hurt my son. Luna nodded once. I got Overwatch. He checked his phone, displaying a tactical map of the area. 2 marked escape routes. No police scanners active. She won't call them, Luna said, adjusting his jacket. She likes to handle things herself. The porch light flicked on before he could knock. Luna opened the door, her expression composed, concern practiced. Her blonde hair was styled to perfection, despite the late hour. Silk pajamas under a designer robe. Always performing. Always aware of appearances. The sight of her made his stomach churn. Luna, she said, voice syrup sweet. What brings you here so late? Cut the act, he said flatly. You know why I'm here. She stepped aside, motioning for him to enter. Inside, the house was immaculate. Every object precisely placed, every surface pristine. Family photos lined the walls, carefully curated snapshots of her and Rylan, staged to sell the image of a devoted mother. Lies. Coffee? Luna asked as she moved toward the kitchen. We should discuss this civilly. Like adults. Luna remained standing. Discuss what? How you let your boyfriend beat my son? Or how you stood there and watched? For the briefest second, Luna's mask slipped. The warmth in her eyes vanished, replaced by something cold. Calculating. Accidents happen, Luna, she said smoothly. Kids fall. They get hurt. His fingers curled into fists at his sides. But you, she continued, could prevent future accidents. His jaw tightened. Is that what this is? Extortion? Luna shrugged, reaching for a mug. Her hands remained steady. Practiced. Such an ugly word, she mused. I prefer to think of it as negotiation. She turned toward him, leaning against the counter. We both want what's best for Rylan, don't we? Luna forced himself to stay still. The rage inside him burned white-hot, but he wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing it. He's in the hospital, he said, his voice measured. With broken bones. And whose fault is that, really? Luna tilted her head, studying him like a predator assessing prey. You could end this, Luna. Sign over the house, and maybe Rylan won't have to suffer anymore. She let the words hang, her meaning crystal clear. Unless, of course, she added lightly, you're willing to gamble with his life. Luna took a step forward. Just one. Luna's confidence wavered. You think you know me, he said quietly. Because I've followed the rules. Played by the court's decisions. That makes me weak in your eyes. Her lips curled into a smirk. Doesn't it? You never understood what that control cost me. His voice dipped lower, deadly. What I'm capable of when someone threatens my family. Luna's fingers drifted toward a kitchen drawer. In my own home? She murmured. Are you threatening me, Luna? He smiled. A slow, knowing smile that made her take a step back. No, Luna, he said softly. I'm educating you. She had made a critical mistake. She thought breaking Rylan would break him. She had no idea what she had just unleashed. Luna wanted control. Power. Tonight she would learn she had neither. The man who played house with you, the one who tried to be civilized? He's gone, Luna said, his voice like iron. You killed him when you hurt our son. Luna scoffed, but there was a slight tremor in her voice. Such drama. Troy won't like you threatening me, she added, masking her unease. Luna turned toward the door, then paused. Troy should worry about himself. His voice dropped to something colder, deadlier. Tell him to watch his back. He met her gaze one last time, letting his next words settle deep. And Luna? Remember what happened to the last person who threatened my family. For the first time, her carefully crafted mask cracked, revealing the fear beneath. You can't touch me, she hissed, her fingers gripping the counter so tightly her knuckles went white. I'll call the police. Luna took a slow step closer, lowering his voice until it was almost a whisper. No, you won't. Because deep down, you know exactly what's coming. He let that truth hang between them before walking out, leaving her standing in her perfect kitchen, drowning in the fear she had earned. Outside, Luna fell into step beside him. She's scared, he observed. Under all that ice, she's terrified. Luna glanced at his phone. No messages from the hospital. Good, he muttered. It's about time she understood fear. They walked in silence, their boots crunching over frost-covered pavement. The night air was sharp, but something about it felt different now, charged with purpose. She'll warn Troy, Luna said as they reached their vehicles. Luna barely spared him a glance. Let her. He opened the truck door. It won't matter. Luna nodded, understanding. Your place? Yeah, Luna said, sliding into the driver's seat. Time to wake up some old ghosts. They drove separately, taking different routes in case Luna had someone watching. Luna House was a modest ranch-style home, tucked away from the road and shielded by trees. Private. Defensible. He had chosen it deliberately after the divorce, knowing one day he might need those qualities. Inside, he led Luna to the basement. The gun safe against the wall appeared standard, but behind it, hidden in the drywall, was another door. Luna pulled it open. The cash hadn't been touched in years, but everything inside remained exactly as they had left it, untouched, but ready. Weapons gleamed in the dim light. Rifles, pistols, tactical gear. A carefully maintained arsenal, entirely off the grid. Luna ran his fingers over his old Ranger handbook, memories rushing in. Missions in places that didn't officially exist. Operations that governments denied ever happened. Luna whistled low, checking the action on a suppressed pistol. You kept all this? Luna nodded. Some habits die hard. With methodical precision, they laid out equipment, working in sync, an old rhythm falling effortlessly into place. Luna thinks she knows me, Luna murmured, loading a magazine with smooth efficiency. She's counting on me playing by the rules. Being civilized. Luna smirked. Her mistake. A vibration from Luna's phone cut through the silence. He checked the message, his expression darkening. My contact at the hospital says Luna tried to visit Rylan, he said. Security stopped her. Luna exhaled slowly. She won't stop pushing. He slid around into the chamber. The sound was quiet, final. So we pushed back harder. Luna gave a knowing nod, muscle memory kicking in. Just like Damascus? Luna checked another weapon, his eyes cold. Worse than Damascus. This time, it's personal. They worked through the night. Every weapon checked and rechecked. Maps spread across the table, routes marked, contingencies planned. This wasn't rage. This was strategy. By the time dawn crested over the Montana mountains, Luna stood at his kitchen window, watching the first light streak across the snow, turning it blood red. His phone chimed. A message from the hospital. Rylan was awake. Asking for him. Luna inhaled deeply, then turned to Luna. I need to see my son. Luna nodded. I'll make some calls, set things in motion. By tonight, we'll know every step Troy takes, every place he breathes. Luna grabbed his keys. Good. Because this ends one way, with them learning exactly what happens when you hurt my family. He left Luna behind, driving toward the hospital as the town stirred to life. The morning felt cleaner somehow, sharper. Panic had been replaced with clarity. Fear had burned away, leaving only purpose. Luna had miscalculated. She had thought she could use Rylan to control him. To break him. Instead, she had woken something far worse than she ever imagined. Something that had been buried since the day he left the service. Since the day he tried to be the man she wanted. That man was gone now. In his place stood something else. Something she had created. The basement air was thick with unspoken understanding as Luna transformed the space into a command center. Maps covered one wall, satellite images of Kalispell, street layouts, terrain surveys. Every escape route marked. Every possible scenario mapped. This wasn't revenge. This was war. Luna tapped a location on the map. Your contact still active at the county records office? Luna scrolled through his encrypted phone, nodding. She sent over Troy's full file. He passed the screen to Luna. Take a look at the pattern. Mugshots flashed on the screen. Troy Jackson, aging through the system. His face hardened over the years, his confidence and his violence growing. Luna scanned the charges. 3 assault convictions. 2 domestic violence charges, both dropped after the witnesses disappeared. 8 months ago, Luna said, pointing. Right around when he started seeing Luna. Luna's jaw tightened. He likes hurting women, he muttered, flipping through the reports. Children, too. His grip on the phone was rigid, controlled fury simmering beneath the surface. It makes him feel powerful. Luna's expression darkened. Until someone stronger comes along. Luna nodded. Luna's voice was quiet, but heavy with meaning. Remember Kandahar? Luna did. Some missions had never been officially sanctioned, but they had been necessary. That particular warlord had disappeared without a trace. Because sometimes, justice didn't happen in the light. Sometimes it worked in the dark. And tonight, that darkness belonged to them. Luna had known exactly what she was doing when she let Troy into Rylan's life. Luna moved to the weapons cache, his hands selecting tools with quiet deliberation. She knew his history, he said. She's using him. Luna agreed, pulling up more data on his laptop. Troy's just a muscle. Luna's the real threat. Always has been. Luna checked the action on a suppressed Glock, muscle memory kicking in as the slide locked into place. I saw it too late the first time. He slid in a magazine with a soft click. Won't make that mistake again. They worked in steady silence, a rhythm ingrained through years of combat. Luna handled the electronics, setting up a surveillance network to track their targets. Luna focused on the strategy, mapping scenarios, predicting counter-moves. After a while, Luna's voice cut through the quiet. Your med contact sent Rylan's full report. Luna glanced up. Luna's face was tight with restrained fury. X-rays show older fractures. Some partially healed. He exhaled sharply. This wasn't the first time. Luna froze, his hand stilling over the weapon he was cleaning. How long? Luna tapped a few keys. Based on bone healing rates? At least 2 months. He turned the laptop so Luna could see. Look at the bruising patterns. The images were methodical. Precise. Bruises placed where they wouldn't be immediately visible. Professional work, Luna muttered. Designed to cause pain without leaving obvious evidence. Luna inhaled slowly, forcing the rage in his chest to crystallize into something sharper. Something colder. Troy's done this before. he said. It's in his file. Beating kids where it won't show, Luna confirmed. Luna knew that when she chose him. She's playing a longer game, Luna murmured. Luna pulled up property records. That house you two bought together? He turned the screen. Its value tripled after the tech company announced their new campus nearby. Luna studied the figures. She wants it back, Luna said. Using Rylan as leverage. Luna moved to the planning table, spreading out surveillance photos. Luna's face stared back at him, her carefully controlled smile hiding the razor's edge beneath. She always knew where to hurt people, he said. Luna watched his friend work, recognizing the shift. The mask of civility slipping. The operator emerging. He'd seen it before. Men pushed too far. Damascus Protocol? Luna asked quietly. Luna nodded. With modifications. His voice was calm. Precise. This isn't about a quick kill. Luna nodded once. This is about taking them apart. Piece by piece. The Damascus Protocol had been their unit's specialty, systematic dismantling of an enemy's infrastructure. Destroying not just the man, but the world that gave him power. Breaking the will before delivering the final blow. Troy first. Luna continued, marking key locations on the map. He runs illegal fights out of that bar on the east side. Takes bets. Moves drugs on the side. Luna pulled up blueprints of the bar. It's his power base. Take that away, and he's just another thug. Luna zoomed in on another image. He's got connections, though. Local enforcers. Corrupt cops. He tapped the screen. Including Detective Moore. Luna stared at the officer's face, his mind locking onto the details. My contact at the station says he's on Troy's payroll. He muttered. Takes cash to look the other way. They spent the next hour compiling target packages, dossiers on every person in Troy and Luna's orbit. Corrupt officials. Criminal associates. Anyone who had a hand in hurting Rylan. Each one a pressure point waiting to be exploited. Luna phone buzzed. A message from the hospital. He read it, his expression hardening. Luna tried to visit again. This time, she brought a court order. He turned the screen to Luna. Security held firm, but she's escalating. Luna set down his weapon. She won't stop. Luna moved to the gun safe, his fingers working a complex combination. That's why we end this now. The safe clicked open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside lay gear from their final mission, equipment that didn't officially exist. Tools designed for the kind of work no government would ever admit to. Luna lifted a customized rifle, inspecting the weight. These aren't registered. Luna secured the last of his gear. Neither are we after tonight. There was no hesitation in his movements. Everything had led to this moment. Once we start, he said, there's no going back. Luna's response was simple. He checked his weapon, chambered around. They hurt your boy, he said. That makes it personal for both of us. The bond forged in combat wasn't bound by discharge papers. Some brotherhoods ran deeper than blood. For the next hour, they ran through contingencies. Escape routes. Safe houses. Emergency protocols. Everything planned with military precision. This isn't revenge, Luna said at last. Revenge is messy. Emotional. He checked his watch. This is removal of a threat. Luna's laptop beeped. He scanned the feed. Troy's got fight night tonight, he said. Runs till midnight. He always stays late to count money. Luna studied the bar's layout again. Good. He rolled his shoulders, tension settling into something steadier. More focused. We start with his power base, he said, voice smooth as steel. Hit his income. His reputation. Make him feel weak. He met Luna's eyes. Then we take away his protection. Luna traced police patrol routes on the map. Moore's on duty tonight. We'll have to work around his schedule. Luna's smile was cold. Let him work. By the time he shows up, there won't be anything left to protect. They synchronized watches, giving their gear one last check. Every tool had a purpose. Nothing traceable. Nothing that could lead back to them. Luna stepped to a locked cabinet, pulling out a small black case. Inside, syringes filled with clear liquid gleamed under the dim basement light. "Insurance," he said. "In case things get complicated." Luna studied the vials and exhaled sharply. He recognized the substance. Something they'd used before, back on their last mission. The kind of insurance that left no evidence on an autopsy report. "This isn't just about stopping them," Luna realized, his voice quiet. Luna met his gaze, unflinching. "They hurt my son." Luna nodded slowly. "And everything they built, everything they care about, it all burns." Luna's voice was ice. "Until they understand exactly what they created when they crossed that line." The basement no longer felt like part of a home. It was something else now, a war room, charged with lethal intent. This wasn't the furious father from the hospital. It wasn't the controlled ex-husband from Luna's house. This was something different. Something forged in battle and sharpened by betrayal. Luna checked his phone one last time, opening a picture of Rylan from a happier time. A smile, unmarked by fear or pain. "This is why." He locked the screen. "Time to move." Luna fell into step beside him. "Like old times." They climbed the basement stairs in silence, each step carrying them further from the world of civilians and deeper into the darkness they knew so well. Tonight, Troy Jackson would learn what real violence looked like. And it was only the beginning. Luna thought fear and pain were weapons she could control. She was about to learn that some men couldn't be controlled. They could only be unleashed. The Montana night stretched out before them, cold and unrelenting. Perfect weather for hunting monsters. Perfect conditions for becoming one. The broken Baobab squatted at the edge of Kalispell's industrial district like a wounded animal, its paint peeling, its neon beer signs flickering weakly in grimy windows. But the parking lot was full. Troy Jackson's fight nights always drew a crowd hungry for blood. From their surveillance post in a vacant office building across the street, Luna watched through high-powered optics. Every detail fed into their plan. A steady stream of people moved in and out. Hired muscle at the doors checked for weapons. Money changed hands in thick rolls. Luna scanned the building, marking positions on his tablet. 4 guards outside. 2 more inside by the cage. Troy's at his usual table. Luna adjusted his scope, focusing on Jackson. The man lounged in his chair, sprawled out like a cut-rate king accepting tribute. Fighters came and went, cash exchanging hands. His knuckles were rapped. "He's already been in the ring tonight," Luna noted. "He's getting sloppy," Luna added. "No roof lookouts. No counter-surveillance. Success breeds overconfidence." Luna pulled up thermal imaging. 37 people inside. Mostly clustered around the cage. A voice crackled through their earpieces. "They're inside, man. Target's drinking heavy." The voice was calm, professional. "Already put 3 guys in the hospital. He's riding high." Luna checked his watch. "Perfect," he murmured. He glanced at Luna. "Time to show him what real violence looks like." They moved like ghosts through the industrial district, years of combat experience guiding every step. The plan was simple. Effective. Destroy Troy's power base. Leave no evidence. Luna spoke low as they approached their first target. "Remember, we're invisible tonight. No witnesses. No traces." Troy's prized possession sat right where it always did. A custom Ford F-350, lifted armored. A symbol of power. Inside, curled up in the passenger seat, slept his pit bull, a champion fighter, trained to intimidate. Luna disabled the truck's alarm effortlessly. "Military-grade security," he noted. "Luna's money at work. She always did love upgrading her toys." Luna moved to the driver's side, tools appearing in his hands. "How long?" Luna asked. 4 minutes before the next guard patrol." They worked in silence, movements precise. When they were done, nothing looked out of place. but the brake lines had hairline cuts. The steering column compromised. The fuel line rigged to fail, at high speeds. Luna stepped back, nodding once. Now for the message. The pit bull never stirred as the needle slid into its skin. A quick, painless death, more mercy than its owner deserved. Luna positioned the dog carefully in the passenger seat. Then, with the tip of his knife, he carved 5 words into the leather dashboard. I see you. Remember Rylan. Luna's voice came over comms. Guards incoming. They vanished into the shadows as the patrol passed, oblivious. From inside the bar, the crowd roared as another fight reached its brutal conclusion. Luna exhaled slowly. Phase 2. Their inside man had done his job well. As they watched, the bar's power cut out. Total blackout. Shouts erupted inside. Glass shattered. Confusion spread like wildfire. Luna checked his monitor. Phones are scrambled. No calls getting out. The backup generator kicked in, but the damage was done. No one noticed the gas lines being carefully compromised. No one saw the water main being tampered with. It would all come apart in the coming days, like rot eating away from the inside. Then, over the comms, they heard it. Troy's voice, slurred with alcohol and rage. Who did this? Silence. Then a nervous voice, one of his men. Sir, there's no sign of forced entry. No cameras caught anything. I don't care, Troy growled. Get more down here. Tell him to earn his money. Luna and Luna exchanged a glance. Everything was going exactly as planned. Your boy's rattled, Luna murmured as they moved to their next position. Good. Luna checked his phone, a message from their hospital contact. Luna had tried to visit Rylan again. She was escalating. But this, Luna said quietly, sliding the phone back into his pocket, is just the beginning. They spent the next hour gathering intel, documenting everything: Troy's illegal gambling rings, the drug deals slipping through back rooms, the cash bribes changing hands with corrupt officials. Every transaction, every dirty deal, carefully recorded and encrypted. Insurance? Luna asked. Luna shook his head. Ammunition? For when we need to turn his allies against him. Across the street, Detective Moore's patrol car screeched into the parking lot. He climbed out, already on his phone, moving with angry purpose. He's calling Luna, Luna reported, tracking the intercepted signal. They listened as Moore's voice crackled through their earpieces. We've got a problem. Someone's targeting Troy. Luna's response was ice cold. Handle it. That's what we pay you for. This feels professional, Moore muttered. Military, maybe. You sure Luna doesn't? Luna cut him off. Luna doesn't have the spine for this. Luna smirked in the darkness. Same old Luna. Always underestimating him. Always thinking she had the upper hand. Her mistake. They watched as Moore started barking orders, coordinating with Troy's men, setting up searches that would turn up nothing. The night was winding down. But their work? Just getting started. Time to move, Luna said as the bar began emptying. Phase 3 starts tomorrow. Troy's rattled, Luna observed as they retrieved their gear. He'll make mistakes. Count on it. Luna's voice was cold. Fear does that to men like him. Makes them stupid. They drove separately, keeping their comms encrypted. Tonight had been precise. Professional. Like the missions they had run in the past. But this was personal in a way no battlefield operation had ever been. Luna's phone buzzed. A message from the hospital. Ryland was having nightmares again. Calling out in his sleep. A slow, cold burn settled deep in Luna's chest. Troy thought he understood violence because he could beat defenseless children. Luna thought she understood power because she could manipulate and hurt. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Real violence wasn't about brute force. Real power wasn't about causing pain. It was about precision. Control. The systematic dismantling of everything your enemy held dear. And Luna was just getting started. Update from my contact at the station. Luna reported as they regrouped. Troy's pulling in favors. Trying to find us. He's offering money for information. Luna didn't even blink. Let him spend it. He tapped a marker against the map, already outlining the next steps. Every resource Troy wasted was one more weakness to exploit. He's calling in muscle from Missoula. Professional guys. Luna lips curled into a smirk. Good. Luna arched an eyebrow. Luna voice was calm. Steady. Predatory. More witnesses for what's coming. They spent the rest of the night monitoring their surveillance feeds, watching Troy's world begin to crack. The whispers were spreading. Ghost stories in the dark. Rumors of someone hunting them. Methodically. Silently. Boss! One of Troy's lieutenants' voices crackled through their directional mics, hesitant. Nervous. Maybe we should back off. Just give Johnson what he wants. The sound of a slap echoed through the transmission. Troy's voice followed, low and dangerous. We don't back off. His breath was heavy, slurred with alcohol and rage. We hit back harder. A pause. Then, find his kid. Send him home in pieces. The room went silent. Luna's face didn't change. But the temperature seemed to drop. Record that, he said quietly. Luna was already saving the audio file. Done. Luna exhaled slowly. Want to send it to Moore? Luna studied him. Not yet. Luna's gaze was steady. Cold. Let them think they were still in control. For now. Dawn crept over Montana, painting the sky in shades of blood and gold. They had struck the first blow. Planted the first seeds of fear. Now it was time to water them. With precision. With pain. Luna leaned against the table, eyes still on the map. Get some rest. Luna glanced at him. You! Luna shook his head. Sleep wouldn't come. Not with Ryland's bruised face burned into his memory. Not with the knowledge that Luna and Troy were still breathing free air. They thought they knew what was coming. Thought they could prepare. They were wrong. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was justice. The kind that couldn't be found in courtrooms. Or prison cells. The kind that was earned in blood. The kind that comes in the night. Wearing a father's face. Carrying a warrior's weapons. Troy had learned the first lesson about fear. Tomorrow? He'd learn about pain. And after that? Luna would learn what happened when you created a monster you couldn't control. Morning brought no peace to Kalispell Regional Hospital. Luna sat beside Ryland's bed, watching his son wrestle through another nightmare. His small face twisted in fear, his good hand clenching the sheets. Dad? Ryland's eyes snapped open, wild with panic. Are you really here? I'm here, buddy. Luna leaned forward, keeping his voice steady, anchoring his son in reality. You're safe. Ryland swallowed hard. Mom was here. In my dream. His voice trembled. Luna's gut tightened. She was smiling, but her eyes were wrong. A nurse appeared in the doorway, holding a small package. Mr. Johnson? This came for Ryland. Luna intercepted the delivery before it reached his son. No return address. But he recognized Luna's handwriting. Inside the box was a child's drawing pad and a fresh set of colored pencils. Ryland frowned. What is it? Nothing important, Luna murmured, tucking it away. But he had already seen what Luna had drawn. Sketches of Ryland, hurt. Bleeding. Broken. Each one signed, Love, Mommy. A fresh surge of rage coiled inside him, sharp and cold. His phone buzzed. Luna's message was short. She's escalating. We need to talk. Luna exhaled, forcing the fury down. I'll be right back, he told Ryland. Just need to speak with the doctors. Luna was waiting by the coffee machine, his expression grim. She's been busy, he said, showing Luna a series of surveillance photos. 3 more packages. Each sent to different hospital departments. All addressed to Ryland. The same sick artwork. And something new. Luna pulled up his phone. She's sending messages to the nurses. Luna read the intercepted texts. Luna was playing the role of the concerned mother, claiming Luna was abusive, that Rylan needed to be rescued from him. Luna's jaw tightened. She's trying to control the narrative. Luna's voice dropped lower. It gets worse. Luna looked up. My contact at the house says she broke in while you were here, Luna said. Left something in Rylan's room. The drive home was silent. Everything looked normal from the outside. But Luna both knew better than to trust appearances. The security system showed no breaches. Every lock was intact. But Luna had always known how to get what she wanted. Rylan's room looked exactly as they had left it. Except for one detail. His favorite stuffed animal, a brown bear he had since birth, lay on the bed. Mutilated. Stuffing spilling from precise cuts. A note pinned to its chest. Nowhere is safe. Luna turned the bear over, examining the slashes. Professional work. Surgical precision. She's sending a message. Luna picked up the bear, fingers tightening around the worn fabric. Remembering how Rylan used to sleep with it every night. She's showing she can get to him anywhere. There's more. Luna peeled back a poster from the wall. His expression darkened. Luna had carved messages into the drywall. Mommy loves you. You belong to me. Over and over, in neat, precise rows. Luna phone rang. Detective Moore? Mr. Johnson. His voice dripped false concern. We've found some concerning evidence about Rylan's injuries. I need you to come to the station. Luna's eyes didn't leave the carved words on the wall. What evidence? A calculated pause. Let's discuss it in person. Unless you have something to hide. Luna smiled, slow and cold. I'll be there in 30 minutes. He hung up and turned to Luna. They're making their move. Luna's face was unreadable. It's a trap. Luna nodded. Luna's trying to shift the blame. Get me arrested. Luna crossed his arms. You gonna walk into it? Luna's smile didn't fade. She's not the only one who's been gathering evidence. Kalispell Police Station. Detective Moore sat in an interview room, a thick case file on the table before him. 2 officers flanked him, standing stiffly, trying to look intimidating. Luna wasn't impressed. Thanks for coming in, Moore said smoothly, gesturing to the chair. We have some questions about your relationship with Rylan. Luna sat without hesitation. Calm. Unshaken. Do you? He folded his hands. Or did Luna pay you to ask them? Moore's smirk faltered. We have witnesses placing you at the scene when Rylan was injured. Luna leaned forward slightly. Really? The same witnesses who saw Troy beating him? His voice didn't rise, didn't waver. The ones you paid to stay quiet? Moore's fingers twitched. Careful, Mr. Johnson, he warned. Accusations against a police officer are serious. Luna reached into his pocket and placed a USB drive on the table. So is taking bribes to cover up child abuse. The color drained from Moore's face. Luna tilted his head. Want to see your account numbers? Moore's lips parted. The payments from Troy? The text messages coordinating cover-ups? Moore's hand drifted toward his gun. Where did you get that? He demanded. Luna met his eyes. Unflinching. I protect my son, detective. He let the weight of the word settle. Something you forgot when you took their money. Moore swallowed hard. You're bluffing. Luna stood, slow and deliberate. Am I? He gestured toward the USB. Check your private accounts. The ones in the Caymans. Silence. Luna's voice dropped lower. I wonder how your superiors would react to those transfers. Moore's fingers curled into a fist. His other hand hovered near his sidearm. Are you threatening me? He asked, voice tight. Luna exhaled, almost amused. No, he said. I'm educating you. He turned for the door, pausing only once. Ask Luna about Damascus, he said. Ask her what happened to the last corrupt cop who tried to hurt my family. Moore didn't answer. He didn't need to. Luna was waiting in the surveillance vehicle outside. How'd it go? Luna climbed in, shutting the door behind him. She's getting desperate. Luna checked his phone. More updates from the hospital. Luna was ramping up her psychological attacks, using more as her weapon. Trying to flip the narrative. Trying to take custody. Luna glanced over. Want me to release the evidence? Not yet. Luna watched as new messages rolled in. Let her think she's winning. They drove past the hospital just in time to see Luna's black Mercedes pulling into the parking lot. She stepped out in expensive designer clothes, her expression the picture of heartbreak. A mother in distress. Luna recognized the performance instantly. She wasn't trying to get inside. She's playing to the crowd, he murmured. Luna nodded. Smartphones were already recording. She's building a case, Luna said. Poor mother, denied access to her injured son. Luna's fingers curled around the steering wheel. She always was good at manipulation. But she made a mistake, he said quietly. Going after Rylan this way. Back at the safe house, they monitored the day's developments. Luna's psychological warfare continued. More drawings sent to Rylan. More staged performances of motherly concern. More whispers to the hospital staff, painting Luna as abusive. She's trying to break him, Luna muttered, watching the surveillance feeds. Death by 1,000 cuts. I know. Luna cleaned his weapons with mechanical precision. That's why we moved tonight. Luna assumed he meant Troy's fight club. No. Luna pulled up a different set of surveillance photos. Troy's private gym. He works out alone after midnight, Luna said. No witnesses. Luna studied the map. You're gonna make it hurt. Luna locked a suppressor onto his sidearm. I'm gonna make it educational. As night fell, they prepared for the next phase. Luna's relentless escalation had accelerated their timeline. But in a way, it made things simpler. No more subtle messages. No more warnings. Luna's phone chimed, another hospital update. Luna had sent more of her sick artwork. This time, the drawings were even more detailed. Rylan, his face twisted in pain. His limbs broken. Bleeding. Luna exhaled, jaw tight. She won't stop. No. Luna loaded his weapons, his movements smooth, unshaken. That's why we end this tonight. They moved through the darkness like ghosts, leaving Luna to play her psychological games. She thought she was in control. Thought she could break them through fear and pain. She was about to learn the difference between inflicting pain and understanding it. Between causing fear and mastering it. Tonight, Troy Jackson would learn what real violence felt like. And after that? Luna would learn what happened when you pushed a warrior too far. When you hurt the one thing he lived and died to protect. She wanted to play games with pain? Fine. Class was in session. Midnight. Kalispell's hiking trails stretched out in silver and black beneath the half-moon. Troy Jackson's private running trail wound through the forest. A ritual he believed made him tough. Tonight he'd learn what toughness really meant. Luna and Luna moved through the woods with practiced silence. Targets alone. Luna reported through comms. 2 miles into his usual route. Troy's routine was as predictable as his arrogance. They had studied him for weeks. Every night after the fights, he ran these trails. Tonight, he wasn't alone. Luna's voice was a cold whisper over the comms. This isn't quick. This is education. They split up, taking parallel paths through the trees. Troy's footsteps pounded the dirt ahead. Heavy. Confident. The sound of a man who had never faced real predators. Luna clicked his radio twice. Luna's response crackled back. In position. Troy rounded the bend, breath steaming in the cold. He wore expensive running gear, his posture dripping with the swagger of someone who had never been hunted. That was about to change. The first warning came as a whisper through the trees. You hurt my son. Troy froze mid-stride. His head snapped around. Fists raised. Who's there? He barked. Asterisk asterisk. A rustle from the shadows. A whisper. You beat a child. Troy's pulse jumped. His breath hitched. Luna's voice seemed to come from everywhere. Made yourself feel strong. Troy's hands went to the pistol at his hip. He yanked it free, waving it wildly. Johnson? His voice wasn't as steady as before. That you, tough guy? He licked his lips. Finally grew some spine? Luna's voice didn't change. Put the gun down, Troy. It won't help you. Yeah? Troy's arrogance flared. He fired 3 shots into the darkness. Bang. 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 The echoes died fast in the cold air. Silence. Then, the gun disappeared from Troy's hand. Gone. Stripped away so fast he barely felt it. A shadow materialized in front of him. Luna held the pistol now. Like a man, Luna said smoothly. His voice conversational. You mean like how you faced my 10-year-old son? Troy swung. Wild. Desperate. Luna caught the punch midair. Twisted. Brought the bigger man down to his knees with mechanical precision. Troy let out a strangled gasp, tendons straining under the pressure. Luna leaned in. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Troy gritted his teeth. I'll kill you. Luna applied more pressure. We're going to have a conversation about consequences. Troy tried to rise. A boot slammed between his shoulder blades, pinning him. You think you scare me? Troy hissed. Luna released him. Stepped back. Not yet. Troy scrambled up, spitting blood and rage. Luna's name was the first thing out of his mouth. Luna was right about you. He sneered. Asterisk asterisk. Weak. Luna smiled. Let's find out. Pathetic. Luna tilted his head, watching Troy struggle on his knees. Playing by the rules while real men take what they want. Troy grinned through bloody teeth. Real men. Another blow knocked him back down. Harder this time. Luna didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Real men don't hurt children. Troy coughed, spitting blood onto the dirt. But his laugh was unmistakable. You should have heard him scream. He rasped. Should have seen him beg. The words hung in the frozen air. Luna's expression didn't change. But the temperature seemed to drop. Thank you, he said softly. Troy blinked. For what? Luna nodded to Luna, who emerged from the tree lean. For making this easy. What followed wasn't a fight. It was a dismantling. Every move calculated. Every strike designed for pain, not unconsciousness. Luna moved with surgical precision, breaking Troy down piece by piece. The ribs first. A sharp kick, a wet crack. Luna didn't stop. He narrated calm, detached, clinical. Just like you did to Rylan. Troy gasped, choking on his own breath. Feel that? Luna pressed his boot into Troy's chest. That's what you did to my son. Troy tried to fight back, but his wild swings were useless against military precision. Each attempt became another lesson in pain. The arm next? Luna caught it, trapped it, applied steady pressure. Exact same spot you broke his. He leaned in. Listened for the snap. Troy screamed as the bone gave way. Please. His voice was raw. I'm sorry. Luna didn't let go. No. His voice was steady. Measured. Absolute. You're not sorry you hurt him. You're sorry you're facing consequences. Luna kept watch, documenting everything. Evidence. Ammunition for what was coming. Troy coughed, spitting blood between broken teeth. Luna will kill you for this. Luna knelt beside him. Close enough for the truth to sink in. Luna's not coming. Troy's breath hitched. Just like she didn't stop you from hurting Rylan. Luna studied him. She just watched, didn't she? Encouraged it. Troy's eyes widened. How did you? Luna shook his head. Because I know her. He checked his watch. She's probably calling you right now, wondering why you're late. As if on cue, Troy's phone rang in his jacket. Luna retrieved it. Put it on speaker. Troy. Luna's voice came sharp and patient. Where are you? We need to discuss the next phase. Luna smiled. He's learning. The line went silent. 3 beats of nothing. Then, Luna. Hello, Luna. He wiped Troy's blood from his knuckles. Troy can't talk right now. Another silence. Luna continued. He's learning what real pain feels like. The kind you taught him when you let him hurt our son. Luna's breath was controlled. Too controlled. You touch him and I will. Too late. Luna's voice was arctic. But don't worry. He's still breathing. For now. Her composure cracked for just a second. I'll call the police. Luna exhaled, amused. No, you won't. He let it sink in. Because then you'd have to explain the videos. The text messages. He let the weight of evidence settle in the silence. All that proof of you orchestrating Ryland's abuse. Another pause. Then, Luna's voice controlled again. What do you want? Luna leaned down, grabbing Troy's shattered jaw, forcing him to look up. Want? I want you to understand what you created. Every time you hurt Ryland. Every time you let this animal touch my son. You built this moment. He ended the call. Troy's breath rattled between broken ribs. She won't help you. Luna let the words settle. That's not what she does. She watches others suffer. And she smiles. Troy coughed, choking back blood. Just kill me. Luna smiled. Cold. Knowing. No. You don't get to die fast. The next hour was a masterclass in controlled violence. Every technique Troy had used on Ryland. Repeated. With professional expertise. By the end, he hung suspended from a tree, alive, but wishing he wasn't. Luna wiped the blood from his hands. The police will find you soon. Troy's head barely lifted. They'll assume suicide. Guilt over what you did. Troy's broken face twisted in fear. Luna crouched. And you'll let them think that, won't you? A weak broken nod. Luna nodded back. Because if you don't, if you try to tell them what really happened. He leaned in. The videos of you hurting my son go public. Your entire organization gets exposed. Everything burns. Troy's voice was barely a whisper. Why not just kill me? Luna tilted his head. Because death is too quick. He checked Troy's restraints one last time. You need to live with this. Remember it every time you look in the mirror. Every time you think about hurting someone weaker. They left him hanging there, broken but breathing. A message to others who might follow his path. But more importantly, a message to Luna. In the car, Luna reviewed the footage. She'll escalate after this. He didn't sound uncertain. She'll go for Ryland. Directly. Luna wiped the last streaks of blood from his knuckles. I know. His voice was quiet. Controlled. Final. That's what I'm counting on. His phone buzzed. Another message from the hospital. Luna had been there again. But something was different. Luna flipped through security feeds. She wasn't arguing. Wasn't performing. She was smiling. As she walked away, Luna's fingers tightened around his tablet. She's planning something. Luna started the engine. Good. His eyes stayed on the road. Let her plan. Let her think she's in control. They drove through the night, monitoring police channels. As predicted, the scene was ruled an attempted suicide. No questions asked? No investigation needed. But Luna's reaction was more concerning. No anger. No threats. Just that cold smile as Luna walked out of the hospital. Luna exhaled slowly. She's going to take him. Luna didn't blink. She'll try to hurt you through Ryland one last time. Yes. Luna's expression hardened. And when she does... He gripped the wheel, knuckles white. She'll learn what happens when you push someone too far. When you create something you can't control. The Montana night stretched ahead of them, cold, silent, unforgiving. Somewhere in that darkness, Luna was making her move. Thinking she still held the power. She was about to learn differently. About the monster she had created. About the devil she had unleashed. Hospital lights flickered red. Luna ran. His boots pounded down the corridor, past nurses shouting in confusion. Emergency lights flashed against the walls, blood-colored shadows stretching long in the chaos. Power failure. Security compromised. Luna's voice crackled in his earpiece. Cameras are down. Backup generators been sabotaged. Luna rounded the last corner at a full sprint. The guard who should have been at Ryland's door lay sprawled on the floor, unconscious, a needle mark visible on his neck. Inside the room, emptiness. Bedsheets twisted. Signs of a struggle. And on the pillow, a note. Luna's elegant handwriting, smeared in Ryland's blood. Let's finish this. Just you and me. Luna breath turned to ice. Luna. His voice was arctic. Tell me you have eyes on them. Working on it. Fingers flew across keyboards. She disabled hospital security, but I've got traffic cams. Black Mercedes. Highway 93. 2 heat signatures inside. Luna knelt, checking the fallen guard's pulse. Still alive. Luna wanted witnesses. How long ago? 4 minutes. Luna's voice was tight. She timed the power failure with the shift change. Used the chaos for cover. Luna stood. Already moving. She's not good, he said. She's desperate. Patch me through to Moore. The call clicked after 2 rings. Johnson? Moore sounded annoyed. A little busy with Troy's suicide. Luna took Rylan. Luna's voice cut like a blade. 4 minutes ago. She's heading north on 93. Silence. Then, Moore's corrupt bravado cracked. Christ. Luna didn't have time for hesitation. Forget about before. His tone was stone. You want redemption? Get units on the highway. But understand this. He paused, letting the next word sink in. Anyone who helps her disappear with my son dies first. Clear? Moore swallowed. Clear. His voice shook slightly. I'll make the calls. Luna reached his truck. The engine roared to life. Luna, route to intercept. She's taking back roads now, heading toward the old cabin. Luna's hands clenched the wheel. The cabin. The one he bought her during their marriage. The one where they had spent summers before the divorce. Before Luna showed her true nature. She's making it personal. Luna's voice carried grim understanding. She stocked the place last week. Installed security cameras. Luna pressed harder on the accelerator. What else? Luna's fingers flew over the keys. Thermal imaging shows she reinforced the doors. Added bars to the windows. A pause. She's got Ryland's medication there. Luna's grip tightened. She wasn't just running. She was setting a stage. For her final performance. His phone rang. Luna. Luna answered. Missing something? Her voice dripped amusement. If you hurt him, you'll what? She laughed softly. Kill me? Like you killed Troy? Luna didn't answer. Luna sighed theatrically. No, Luna, you're going to listen. Very carefully. A muffled cry in the background. Rylan. Mom, please! A sharp gasp. Luna's tone shifted, silky, cruel. Hear that? Luna's breath was controlled. Steady. Deadly. Luna purred into the phone. That's just the beginning. Every minute you take to reach us, every second you waste, I'll teach our son about suffering. Show him what his father's weakness costs. Luna's jaw clenched. This won't end how you think, Luna. Luna's tone sharpened. No. I think it ends with you watching. Watching while I carve my signature into him. While I show you exactly how weak you really are. Luna let out a breath. You forgot something important. Luna hesitated. You forgot Damascus. Silence. 1. 2. What? Luna exhaled. Ask Troy about Damascus. Ask him what happens when someone pushes too far. Luna scoffed. Troy's dead. But uncertainty crept into her voice. Luna's smile was cold. The police found what I wanted them to find. He let that settle. But Troy's not dead, Luna. He's very much alive. Broken but alive. Learning what happens when you cross certain lines. A sharp inhale from Luna. You're bluffing. Luna nodded to Luna. Check your phone. Luna transmitted the video. The feed flashed onto Luna's screen. Troy. Strapped to a hospital bed. His face wrapped in bandages. Casts on both arms. His voice weak. Broken. Confessing everything to the police. Explaining how guilt over hurting Ryland drove him to attempt suicide. Luna's breath hitched. Luna leaned back. See, Luna, there are things worse than death. Silence. Luna had no comeback. For the first time, she was the one who didn't know what to say. Luna shifted gears. I'm coming for my son. Luna's voice wasn't so smug anymore. You won't make it in time. Luna's hands flexed over the wheel. We'll see. He ended the call. Pressed the accelerator. The truck roared through the dark. Luna had thought this was her endgame. She was about to learn the truth. This wasn't the end. This was where it truly began. Impossible. Luna's voice cracked over the line. Shaken. You couldn't. Luna kept his eyes on the road, guiding his truck down the unmarked path leading to the cabin. I warned you, he said, voice smooth, measured. I told you what would happen if you hurt my boy. He checked the GPS tracker. He was closing in. Now you'll learn what that warning meant. Luna's breath hitched. Then, hysteria bled into her voice. I'll kill him. Luna didn't react. No, you won't. Because now, she was starting to remember. Starting to understand. What she had created. Luna's voice went softer. Darker. I'm coming, Luna. He paused, letting the words settle deep into her fear-flooded brain. And when I get there, you'll learn about real monsters. He ended the call. Up ahead, the cabin came into view. Windows ablaze with harsh light, casting jagged shadows through the surrounding trees. Thermal shows 3 heat signatures. Luna's voice crackled through the comms. Luna's pacing in the main room. Ryland's in the back. Luna's grip on the wheel tightened. And the third? Stationary. Back door. Armed. Luna brought backup. Luna's voice stayed level. Want me to call in tactical support? No. Luna cut the engine, parking out of sight. Checking his gear. This ends personal. Just her and me. She's unstable. Unpredictable. Luna stepped out into the freezing night air. Good. The hunter moved. Luna ghosted through the trees, boots soundless against the frost-covered ground. Fear made people sloppy. Stupid. Luna thought like a civilian, focusing on doors, windows, cameras. She had forgotten how many other ways a trained operator could enter a building. Luna. Kill the power. 30 seconds. Darkness swallowed the cabin. Inside. A frustrated scream. Ryland's muffled cry. Luna's voice rose in the dark, echoing through the walls. You can't stop this, Luna. Luna remained silent. Waiting. Listening. You're still the same weak man who couldn't keep his family together. She was trying to draw him out. Make him react? It wouldn't work. Tonight she was the one who would learn. The difference between causing pain and understanding it. Between inflicting fear and mastering it. She thought she had created a monster she could control. She was wrong. Montana wilderness stretched dark and endless. Luna moved through the shadows with lethal precision. Behind him, Luna kept radio silence, tracking thermal movements. Inside, the cabin blazed with harsh light, a false island of warmth in the frozen night. Luna's whisper crackled through the comms. She's pacing. Restless. Luna stayed low. Still. Watching. Ryland's heart rate is elevated. Luna's jaw clenched. The third heat signature. Stationary by the back door. Armed. She hired muscle. Luna's voice was flat. Controlled. Want me to take them? Luna shook his head. She needs to understand. Really understand what she created. Inside the cabin, Luna moved. Through the window, Luna watched her pacing. A knife gleamed in her grip, the blade catching the firelight. Her voice was loud, taunting. You're out there, aren't you? Watching? Planning? Luna exhaled slowly. Tell me, Luna, does it hurt? She turned toward the back room, gesturing wildly. Knowing your son is crying for you? A muffled sound. Rylan. Struggling against whatever gag she'd used. Shut up! Luna's voice cracked with rage. You don't get to speak unless I say. Luna radio crackled. Police bands active. Luna's voice was calm. Moore's coordinating a search, but he's sending them east. Buying us time. Luna kept moving. Security was basic. Cameras. Motion sensors. Luna always thought like a civilian. She didn't understand professionals. She was about to. Luna reached the cabin's blind spot. A section of wall between sensor-dead zones. He pulled out his phone. Dialed Luna. She answered instantly. He could hear it in her breathing. She thought he was about to beg. Her voice dripped false sweetness. You helped train Ryland's dog, didn't you? Luna kept his voice casual. Remember what you taught him about tracking prey? Luna hesitated. What? Luna stepped closer. Silent. Unseen. How to circle. How to cut off escape routes. Luna's breath hitched. How to make the target feel safe before striking. Her control cracked. If you're trying to scare me. No, Luna. Luna's voice was quiet. Lethal. I'm educating you. A crash inside. Luna's composure slipping. You can't touch me. Luna smiled. She was breaking. You're mercenary by the back door, ex-military. Probably expensive. Luna's breath caught. How did you? Luna exhaled. I see everything, Luna. Her panic escalated. Just like I saw what you did to Rylan. Luna's voice rose in hysteria. He needed discipline. Luna kept moving. You made him weak, just like you. Luna's voice remained steady. No. You just never understood strength. Through the window, he saw her spinning in circles, knife flashing. Fear replaced her usual cold calculation. Now she knew. She was being hunted. I'll kill him! Luna's scream rattled through the cabin. Luna's voice went soft. Even. Dangerous. No, you won't. She shook. Her hand trembled around the knife. Then, a single word. A word that hung in the frozen air like a death sentence. Damascus. Luna froze. The knife clattered from her fingers. Finally. Real fear. In her eyes. Luna watched her spin toward shadows that weren't there. You're remembering now. Her breath shuddered. What I was before you met me. Luna backed up. Luna's voice was calm. Absolute. What I can do when someone hurts the people I love. Luna's lips parted. She tried to laugh. To regain control. You're bluffing. Luna smiled. Check the back door. Luna ran. She yanked open the door. And screamed. Luna let the moment sink in. She had found the mercenary. Unconscious. Positioned carefully. To send a message. Luna's voice shook through the phone. That's impossible. Luna took a step forward. Nobody could. His voice dropped to a whisper. You still don't get it. I'm not nobody. I warned you. Luna moved into position, his steps soundless in the darkness. I told you what would happen if you hurt my boy. Inside, Luna fired wildly, emptying her pistol at phantoms. Each bullet sparked off trees, scattering through the cold night, marking her panic. Face me! She screamed into the void. Stop hiding and face me! Luna's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. But I am facing you. Luna froze. I'm right here. His voice wrapped around her like a noose. Teaching you about fear. About consequences. Her gun clicked empty. The sound echoed through the cabin, the final nail in her coffin of control. Luna didn't let her breathe. You remember now, don't you? Luna's hands shook as she tried to reload. What the police found after Damascus. What was left of the people who hurt my team. Stop it! She fired another wild shot into the black. Just stop! Luna exhaled, almost disappointed. Can't stop, Luna. He moved, circling her in the dark. Not until you understand. Luna flinched, the gun slipping in her sweat-slicked grip. Really understand what kind of devil you created. Then, a small voice cut through the chaos. Dad? Rylan. Luna spun toward the sound, raising her gun. Fatal mistake. The cabin plunged into darkness. A shattered scream. The sound of breaking glass. The hunt was over. Now came the reckoning. The cabin became a maze of shadows. Luna fired blindly, her own muzzle flashes blinding her. The gunfire echoed, masking other sounds. The whisper of movement behind her. Where are you? Her voice cracked with panic. Show yourself! Luna's voice wrapped around her from all sides. I'm everywhere. Just like the fear you taught Rylan. Luna whipped around. Remember how you smiled when he flinched? When he checked every shadow? Something brushed past her in the dark. Luna spun again, firing. The bullet splintered wood, accomplishing nothing. Stop playing games! She backed toward what she thought was the kitchen. Fight me! Luna's voice was curious. Games? Like the ones you played with our son? Luna's breath hitched. The little drawings you sent him? Showing what you do. He needed to learn. Luna's back hit the counter. Her fingers fumbled, finding a knife. You made him soft. Weak. A voice directly behind her. No. Luna whirled, slashing. Luna caught her wrist mid-swing, locking the joint with surgical precision. The blade clattered to the floor. Luna tilted his head. You see, he continued conversationally, real strength isn't about hurting people. His grip tightened. It's about control. Luna struggled, but years of civilian comfort had left her soft. Let go! You'll what? Luna released her, stepping back into the dark. Hit me? Like you hit Rylan? His voice drifted, circling her again. Tell me, did it make you feel strong when he cried? Luna snatched another knife, gripping it white-knuckled. You don't understand anything. Luna's voice was everywhere. I understand everything. I understand how you chose Troy carefully. How you watched him hurt our son, and smiled. How you planned each bruise. Each break. He deserved it. Hysteria bled into her voice. Crying over that stupid bear. Begging to call you. The knife vanished from her hand. She hadn't even seen him move. Luna's voice went cold. The bear. Luna stumbled backward. The one you cut apart on his bed. His voice drilled into her. Tell me something, Luna. Did you enjoy that? Making him afraid in his own room? Luna shook her head. I was teaching him. Luna moved closer. Teaching him what? That his mother is a monster? That the person who should love him most enjoys his pain? A sound from the back room. Luna spun toward it. Rylan's voice. Dad? She lunged for him. A hand closed around her throat. She hit the wall hard. Pinned. Trapped. Forced to see him clearly for the first time. The rage she expected wasn't there. Not hatred. Not vengeance. Just cold. Professional. Purpose. Luna gasped. What are you going to do? Her voice shook. Kill me? Luna smiled. The expression made her flinch. No, Luna. Death is too quick. She tried to knee him. Luna moved like water, turning her momentum against her. Luna crashed into the table, disoriented. You can't do this. Panic replaced her usual control. I'll tell everyone. The police. Luna chuckled. Like Detective Moore? Luna froze. The one who already confessed. Luna tilted his head. To taking bribes. To covering up child abuse. Luna shook her head. You're lying. Luna gestured toward her phone. Check it. Luna's fingers scrambled over the screen. Headlines. Videos. Troy's confession. His weak, broken voice explaining how guilt drove him to attempt suicide. Luna's breath came in ragged gasps. No. Her phone slipped from her fingers. This isn't possible. Luna moved closer. But it is. Everything you built. Every piece of power you thought you had. It's all gone. Luna grabbed another knife. I always find a way. Luna disarmed her effortlessly. Not this time. This time, you learn about consequences. A noise behind her. Luna whirled. Luna stood in the doorway to Ryland's room. The boy was safe behind him. Luna's breath hitched. Dad? Ryland's voice was small. But steady. Luna never took his eyes off Luna. It's okay, buddy. Close your eyes for a minute. Luna knelt in front of Ryland, his voice steady, calm. This won't take long. Behind him, Luna snapped. You can't take him. She launched forward, all pretense of control gone. He's mine. Mine. What followed wasn't a fight. It was a lesson in helplessness. Every move she made was countered. Every attack turned against her. Luna moved with surgical precision, never hurting her, just showing her what true power looked like. His voice never rose, never broke from its controlled cadence. See? Luna struggled, her breath ragged. This is what Ryland felt. Luna redirected another wild swing, sending her crashing into the wall. What you made him feel. Luna gasped as another attack failed. Please! She stumbled, chest heaving. I'm his mother. Luna caught her wrist before her final desperate strike. His grip was steel. No. His voice wasn't cold. It was final. You're just a monster who hurt him. He released her with disdain. Luna staggered back, broken. Luna smiled, and it wasn't cruel. It was inevitable. Now you learn about pain yourself. Luna saw something in his expression that shattered her. Not violence. Not revenge. Just the absolute certainty that her world was ending. She shook her head, breath shuddering. What are you going to do to me? Luna stepped back. I told you. You're gonna live. Luna collapsed to the floor, trembling. Live and watch as everything you built crumbles. As every person you hurt testifies. As every crime you committed comes to light. Her mask was gone. Luna slumped against the wall, her voice hollow. Take him then. Take everything. Luna didn't move. No, Luna. You don't understand. He turned, walking toward Ryland. He knelt and gathered his son into his arms. I'm not taking anything. Luna watched, defeated. Luna met her vacant gaze. You destroyed it yourself. His voice was low, even. Every choice. Every cruel moment. You built this ending with your own hands. Sirens wailed in the distance. Not Moore's corrupt officers. Real justice. State police rushed in, their lights flashing across the trees, turning the Montana wilderness into a pulsing sea of red and blue. Luna glanced back at Luna one last time. She was alone now. Surrounded by the ruins of her power. Through the window, he could see officers swarming the cabin, bagging evidence. Luna stood by his side. One last thing. Luna murmured. He turned back to Luna, his voice quiet. Unshakable. Remember this moment. Luna's bloodshot eyes locked onto his. Luna's voice never wavered. Remember what happened when you tried to break something unbreakable. A muscle ticked in Luna's jaw. Luna tilted his head. When you created a monster you couldn't control. He left her there, silent, broken, drowning in the consequences of her own making. The arrest. State police loaded Luna into a patrol car. She sat in the back seat, Her perfect mask ruined, streaked with tear-stained makeup. Her world crumbling piece by piece. Luna stood next to Detective Thomas, watching as evidence was logged. Evidence bags filled with her twisted drawings to Rylan. Computer files documenting her orchestrated abuse. Troy's video confession playing on officers' phones. Thomas glanced at Luna. "We've got her dead to rights." His tone was grim. "Absolute. Child abuse. Conspiracy. Kidnapping." He shook his head. "She's looking at 20 years minimum." Luna's gaze remained on Luna. "No deals. No mercy." Thomas nodded, jaw tight. "After what she did? Trust me." His voice hardened. "The DA's out for blood." Luna's eyes flicked to Luna through the patrol car window. She mouthed something, but her voice was lost behind the glass. Her expression screamed the words instead. Hatred. Fear. The desperate rage of a predator caught in a trap. Thomas glanced over. "You want to talk to her?" Luna didn't hesitate. He shook his head. "Nothing left to say." Father and son. Luna walked toward the ambulance, where paramedics were finishing their examination of Rylan. The boy sat wrapped in a blanket, Luna standing beside him. Luna knelt next to his son. "How are you holding up, buddy?" Rylan's voice was small, but steady. "I'm okay." He hesitated. Mom didn't hurt me this time. Just scared me." Luna touched his uninjured hand. "You were very brave." Rylan looked at him. "Is she going away? For real?" Luna nodded. "For a very long time." Rylan processed this, quiet for a moment. Then, softly, "She said things about you. About what you'd done." Luna met his son's eyes. "I know." He didn't flinch. "The truth is, I've done things I'm not proud of. But everything I did was to protect people." Rylan's grip tightened on his father's. "Like you protected me." Luna nodded. "Exactly like that." The end of a nightmare. The paramedics cleared Rylan to leave. As they walked toward Luna's truck, the boy paused. He looked back at the police car. Luna sat motionless, her face blank, staring at nothing. Rylan's voice was quiet. "Dad, do you think she ever loved me? Even a little?" Luna chose his words carefully. "I think she doesn't understand love the way normal people do." He took a breath. "For her, love is about control. About owning people." Rylan looked up at him. "But you love me different." Luna pulled him close. "Yes." His voice was steady. "Real love is about protection. About doing anything to keep someone safe." Aftermath. Luna approached. His expression was grim. "They found more at her house." He exhaled. "Plans for other families. Other children." Luna's jaw tightened. "She was going to expand." Luna nodded. Luna's voice carried finality. "Not anymore." Through the trees, they could still hear Luna screaming as officers uncovered more evidence. Her perfect mask was shattered. The monster beneath fully exposed. Luna held his son close. "Time to go home." And they left the past behind. Months passed. Winter melted into spring, the last of the snow retreating from Montana's mountains. In their new home near Flathead Lake, Luna watched Rylan heal, slowly, steadily. The trials made national news. Luna's crimes laid bare for the world to see. Troy testified from his hospital bed, still bearing the marks of Luna's education. Detective Moore turned state's evidence, exposing years of corruption. But more importantly, Rylan smiled again. The nightmares came less frequently. The flinching at sudden movement faded. A new beginning. One morning, they stood by the lake, watching sunrise paint the water gold. Rylan clutched a new stuffed bear, different from the one Luna had destroyed, but chosen with care. His voice was stronger now. More confident. "Dad?" Luna glanced down. "Yeah, buddy?" Rylan hesitated then. "Can we get a dog? A real one?" Luna smiled. "Sure. Any kind you want." Ryland's grin grew. A big one. He looked up at his father. One that can protect people. Like you do. Luna exhaled, nodding. He saw it, the healing in his son's words. Like we both do. Ryland nodded, understanding. Strong people protect others. Right? Not like Mom. His voice didn't tremble. It carried certainty. Clarity. Luna knelt, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. That's right. Real strength isn't about hurting people. It's about making sure monsters can't hurt the innocent. Ripples in the water. They skipped stones across the lake, watching each ripple carry away more of the past. Somewhere in a maximum security prison, Luna sat in isolation, writing letters that would never be delivered, plotting schemes that would never work. She built this ending with her own hands. With every bruise, every cruel word, every moment of pain she inflicted on an innocent child. She tried to create a monster. Instead, she unleashed something beyond her control. She was the one who had been broken. She had been the architect of her own ruin. Dad? Ryland's voice pulled Luna back to the present. Are you okay? Luna blinked, then gathered his son close. Yeah, buddy. Just thinking about choices. Ryland tilted his head. What kind of choices? Luna looked out at the water, the sunlight dancing on the surface. The kind that change us. That make us stronger or weaker. Better or worse. Ryland considered this, his young mind turning the thought over. Then, with the simple wisdom of children. Like choosing to protect people instead of hurt them. Luna smiled. Exactly like that. Moving forward. They stood together, watching the sun climb higher. Behind them, their new home waited. Secure. Peaceful. Free from shadows. Luna would visit later, bringing books and games. Helping to build new memories. Replacing the old. Life would move forward. Wounds would heal. But some lessons remained, carved deep in bone and memory. The truth about monsters. Real monsters didn't hide under beds. Or lurk in closets. They wore familiar faces. Smiled kind smiles. They spoke in sweet voices and pretended to love. But real strength? It wasn't about causing pain. It was about preventing it. And sometimes, when you try to break something unbreakable, you only succeed in forging it stronger. You create something beyond your control. A protector instead of a victim. A warrior instead of a target. A devil of your own making. Come home to roost. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen and I will see you there.